Hi, I'm Tom Leahy. I'm the managing partner of OptimumEd. I'm going to demonstrate for you OptimumEd's very powerful career and academic assessment. This is going to be an example of how we interpret and analyze the assessment results for students and parents. It not only addresses passion, but also viability as well. And the end result is understanding what college major the student should pursue. So the assessment, when you receive the results, I have a written piece and it also has a summary graph, but I wanted to explain a little bit about the assessment itself and how it works before we get into that. So the assessment is made up of three parts: thinking style, which is a measure of aptitude, how you learn, how you process information, communicate, use information to reason. We look at non-behavioral traits, make up your personality, and then we're going to identify top 3 interests out of 6 interest categories based upon how the student answered a battery of questions within the assessment. Those 3 things come together where it shows bullseye. That's the profile of the student. And the assessment isn't going to deliver a list of jobs that are appropriate for that profile based upon what people with a similar profile are actually doing. Right. When we talk about interests, we're just going to, have the top 3 interests. But when we look at behaviors and we look at thinking style, we placed on a scale of 1 to 10. Why am I showing you the bell curve? Because we're dealing with statistical information, and they say 95% of the population falls within 2 standard deviations of the mean. What does that mean? That means that most of us are all alike. Why is that important to the assessment results? The more unique you are, the more 9s and 10s you have, more 1s and 2s you have, the more unique you are, and the more restrictive the jobs are going to be that are delivered. Makes sense. The more unique person you are, the less jobs are appropriate. That's why it's important to understand. All right, so we have a summary graph. Okay, so we have overall learning index. And that is a summary of verbal skill, verbal reasoning, numerical ability, and numeric reasoning. All right, and so not only do you get the graph, but you also get the narrative. So here are the bullet points that have to do with this student, determining that they're proficient, for example, in words and language to express themselves, understand and communicate verbal information as easily as others do. Mathematically, able to learn to apply everyday mathematical principles to new, more complex problems. You probably are able to grasp common mathematical principles that apply to the job. Again, this is all about the workplace. And you grasp numerical concepts readily. So those are the bullet points that have to do with the numbers that are shown on the graph. So it's very important not just to look at the graph, but also to read the narrative, because that's really explains what the numbers mean. And we have the behaviors. Here are the 9 behaviors that we're looking at. And again, we talk about energy level. That's how much a person enjoys a fast-paced environment. Okay, so if we look at the narrative, again, these bullet points each have a narrative. So here's energy level, tendency to work at a fast pace, right? High end, thrives on chaos. Low end, laid back work environment, or somewhere in the middle. Assertiveness, tendency to take charge. This is kind of a leadership thing, but it's whether you have to lead, not whether you can lead. So there's a bit of a difference there. All right. Sociability, tendency to be outgoing. This is the people piece. High end, have to have people around all the time. You get your energy from others. On the other end, you rather do your work by yourself, alone, no interaction with people. Manageability, this is how well you follow rules, take supervision. So of course on the high end, you do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told. On the low end, you're a rebel, or somewhere in between. Attitude, this is the glass half full, half empty. So on the high end, everything's great, wonderful. People are trustworthy. The boss is the greatest person in the world. And on the low end, nothing ever going to work out. You or the donkey, right? The boss is out to get me, etc. trust anybody, you're skeptical. So decisive, this is how quickly you can make a decision. On the high end, I like to say it's ready, fire, aim. On the low end, it's ready, aim, 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 aim. You never pull the trigger. You're always looking for more information and more data to help make a decision. Accommodating, this says how far you will go out of your way to make people happy, right? So on the high end, you put yourself in harm's way if it means making somebody happy. On the low end, your way or the highway. Independence is how you like to work. So on the high end, you're independent worker, which means give me the job or the project, let me do it, leave me alone, I'll figure it out, and then I'll call you over when I'm done. On the low end, step-by-step instructions. You want everybody to know exactly what their job is. You want constant supervisory assurance that things are going according to plan. Objective judgment. This is the last behavior. So this is how you make a decision. So on the high end, very logical, data-driven. On the low end, it's motion and feeling, intuitive. So those are the behaviors that are looked at. And you can see on the summary graph that they're outlined here. All right. And then we look at, the interests. So the interest is the third area that we look at. So here are the 6 interest categories that are considered. Enterprising, which is, the selling piece, the business piece, entrepreneurial piece, financial administrative, that means you like to organize information and procedures, people service. Whatever you do, you want it to have a positive impact. Technical, that's your scientific research and that sort of thing. Mechanical, hands-on, you're a builder. Creative, that means you're very innovative in the way you think. So you look at they identify your top 3 interests. In this case, it was enterprising. Then it was people service, and then creative were the top 3 for the student. Okay, so those are the 3 areas that come together. And then we look at the jobs that are appropriate that get delivered. So when we look at that, we want to, I'm going to show you how this happens. So here's a sample, a hypothetical example of how it works. So for each job, in this case, it's Sally Sample, our student. Here's Widget Bender is the hypothetical job. For each line item, they indicate where you have to score to be a match. So the overall index needs to be a 5, 6, or 7. So Sally was 69% match. So a couple outliers here, yellow, you can see. So 69% match there. Behavior is not so great, 54% match. For interest, 71% match. So together, this came out to be, she was a 82% match for thinking, for learning index. So overall, 69% overall to be a widget bender. So this would not show up in an array because they cut the line at 75%. So you're only going to see jobs that are 75% match or better in the array that is delivered. So you still have a 25% spread, right? So that means that, some of the jobs that show up may be, 6% match, and some may be 100% match. But anyway, that they're at least that good of a match when you see the jobs. All right, so when you receive the report, you're going to get 2 reports. One is going to show jobs under 3 categories that you individually picked, and you're going to receive another report that shows your best top matches across all 16 job categories, and that's what I'm showing you now. And so here are the jobs that are the best matches for Sally Sample. So let's take a look. Okay, so she says, well, fashion designer sounds great. Let's look at that. So it takes you out to the ONET. Okay, when you click on it, and this is where the passion turns into viability. I want to be a fashion designer. I think that's really neat. Let's take a look. Let's make sure it makes sense, and let's see what what it delivers in terms of job growth and salary. So here we go. So ONET, day in the life of, tasks, technical skills that you need to know, knowledge, just a whole myriad of information about the job, day in the life of type of stuff. Job zone 3, medium preparation is needed. There are 5 job zones. This is the job zone 3. It tells you what kind of educational background people have who do this kind of work. And then it gives you other jobs that are, like, fashion designer you may want to look at. But here's the cool part. You can put in zip code, right? Here, Virginia. We'll just look at Virginia for as an example, and it'll give you, well, it's not reported in Virginia, but it'll give you salary ranges. Let's take a look and see if interior designer. There we go. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. So interior designers, we have Richmond, we have Virginia, and the United States in terms of salary range. So you can see what your expectations are in terms of earnings based upon the amount of education that you have to obtain to earn that, and what you might anticipate if you get at the top of your industry. And then you can also look at growth or decline. So here in Virginia, it's growing at 5%. United States, 4%. Only 150 jobs opening in Virginia every year to compete for. So you may need to look outside of Virginia to expand the market when you start looking for work. So 5%, it's growing, but not by much. So could you find something that is like this that you could put your passion toward that's maybe growing at 10%, has a greater job base? These are the kind of things that questions you can ask and answers you can derive through this process to make better decisions about the direction you're going to head in terms of what's appropriate, what feels right in terms of career. And then that is easily translated into an academic path, right? And a college major. So we can then use that as the starting point to start looking at colleges that are appropriate based upon the education that we need. And then that comes together with needs and wants of a student and the campus, the culture, etc., and the financial wherewithal of the family. So it gives you an idea of kind of the process. Anyway, thank you for being attentive, and I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of our career and academic assessment. If you have more questions, if you want to learn more about it, how to engage in our assessment process, reach out to us at ask@optimamedcenter.com. You can get to us through our website as well, optimamedcenter.com, or you can call the office, 804-417-4807. Thank you, and have a great day.